The Spectacular Now by Tim Tharp. So the novel is told by the main character Sutter, and Sutter drinks, he goes to high school, and he parties, and he gets brokenhearted like any other teenager, and he actually has this relationship with Cassidy, but it doesn't quite work out, and he ends up brokenhearted. As a response to that, what Sutter does is he goes to his basic instinct, and that is to drink and to party and to revert to the ways that he knows best to deal with things. And in turn, he gets so drunk that he actually ends up in a lawn, and that's where he meets the other main character, Amy, who becomes a love interest for Sutter. And how they become a love interest is they kind of bonded over this paper route that she was on. And they kind of talked about each other's lives and how they're so different, and their differences kind of bring them together. And Amy ends up revealing that her life isn't as perfect, and how her mom gambles and how she struggles with that, and Sutter kind of comes up with the idea to kind of save her, and that's really the main focus of the novel. So what ends up happening is Sutter introduces her to his lifestyle of just partying and kind of living in the spectacular now, which is the title of the novel, is that's what he believes in, living in the now moments. And feelings start to develop because of that, and Amy really has feelings for Sutter, and Sutter doesn't necessarily have those feelings for Amy, and that's kind of the main conflict of the novel, is just Sutter's acceptance of relationships and people and his interactions with them. And the reason why is because he's not very close with his dad at all, or the rest of his family, and so he believes that he can just live alone by himself. In spite of this, though, they end up going to prom together and have a really good time, besides this incident that Amy had with Cassidy. But other than that, they had a really good time at prom, and they keep on hanging out. Then, in a car one day, Amy decides that she needs to express her feelings, and she ends up telling Sutter that she loves him, and he decides to get out of the car. And as Amy follows him, she ends up getting hit by a car and breaks her arm. And this event really sets Sutter over the edge, and Sutter feels like he's no longer good for Amy or for anyone in his life. And so, though it's never said in the novel and is open to interpretation, our group felt as though he may have killed himself, and that is how the novel ends. Tim Tharp chose Sutter as narrator so that you could really see the perspective of a high schooler dealing with problems in his own world. And now to talk about the themes of the novel. In the novel, there is the theme of living in the moment. Sutter believed in that life is there for you to live it. There are two paths that he could have taken: a responsible one, hanging out with friends and doing schoolwork, or an irresponsible one with partying and drinking. He chose the irresponsible path. In the novel, Tim Tharp really plays with the concept of reality, and there's no romantic ending in the novel. He also plays with the fact that divorce is something that is an issue for young adults and seeing their parents go through it. He also addresses that drinking is a problem in young adults, and that's something that we struggle with. Tim Tharp also has his characters go through situations where reality is not the reality, by having his characters having unprotected sex and there not be any pregnancy. Another area where he does this is when Amy is in her car accident and the only consequences is just a broken arm and not actually death. Another thematic element is relationships, and Sutter has very many interactions with his friends, and it doesn't go very well. And he also has the problems with his family, where he's not very close and his dad is a drinker and he doesn't really relate to him. Another situation with relationships is that of girls, which he has with Amy and Cassidy, that don't go well. Another theme throughout the novel is that of alcoholism, and Sutter turns to alcohol whenever there's a problem in his life or issues, and he's also an underage drinker, and there's no consequences for his alcohol. He doesn't get in car accidents or anything. It's solely on him.